stop the invading army that Harley and co. already encountered.
That's kind of made me quite sad now that there was meant to be a bigger story to this. So that's disappointing.
So even as Mark has pointed out here on followingthenerd.com, it makes much more sense, and it means that all the movies would have told one continuous story.
Yeah.
So Man of Steel, Superman's introduced and establishes aliens in a massive universe and blowing up cities. Batman versus Superman, Batman moves into the frame, becomes aware of Wonder Woman, Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, defeats Lex Luthor, who calls down Darkseid's forces. Suicide Squad. Steppenwolf arrives and is temporarily stopped by the Squad, leaves to return in Justice League. The team stand against Steppenwolf, who is beaten, leading to the arrival of Darkseid. So that was the original plan. That basically all these movies, you could have just called them Justice League Volume 1, Justice League Volume 2, Justice League Volume 3.
Yeah.
So like Justice League Volume 1, Man of Steel. Justice League Volume 2, Batman v Superman. Justice League Volume 3, Suicide Squad. It would have been one long, continuous story.
That's really disheartening to know that now.
Yeah.
That is...
I mean, as much as I love the movies as they came out,
yeah,
this has me crying a little bit inside.
It does, because, like, what was in their head? Why? I don't know. When you try and dive down that rabbit hole, you'd be there for days.
Honestly, it's I don't even know anymore. I don't. Just leave people alone to make the movies. Stop interfering. Just stop it. I mean, your producers,
it doesn't
your studios, you're just there to bankroll this.
Yeah.
Leave the creative juices flowing in the minds of the creators.
I don't understand why they do that. Like, you know...
Because they get scared. It's because it's like gambling.
Is it because they're afraid if this tanks, we lose a lot of money?
Yeah.
We need to be right there. We need to be there and tell everything our way.
It's because instead of letting people decide what they want, the studios go, no, this is what people will want.
But that doesn't make...
Because they run focus groups, and because they look at the market, and they look at other movies that are successful. I mean, there's a reason, for example, why with Suicide Squad, why there's so many licensed songs and music in Suicide Squad. They wanted it to be as successful as Guardians of the Galaxy and have it look like Guardians of the Galaxy. So Guardians of the Galaxy comes out, makes a boatload of money, and then DC look at that and go, right, that's what people want. So they go off and they retool Suicide Squad to be more like Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, in all fairness from me, right, because I'm a fan of both. And, you know, you have that'd be nice to have that, and also with the DC have their own spin on it. Copying that's just like carbon cloning, and it doesn't work.
But like you do realise that everyone wants these movies to be successful.
Yeah,
it's like even Marvel wants DC to be successful. Because can you imagine what it's like to be Marvel, where you're pumping out all these movies, they're great, they're making tons of money, but then the market's starting to get oversaturated by other movies that not a lot of people like.
Yeah.
That are in the superhero genre. So, like, for example, Suicide Squad comes out and it's torn apart by critics and fans go, oh, well, this is a bit of a mess of a movie. Same thing with Justice League. Possibly the same thing with Aquaman next month.
I have high hopes for that.
But, like, imagine that, where these movies are coming out and people, like, most people on the street, they don't see the difference. There are people out there that think, wouldn't it be great if Batman and Superman joined the Avengers? Not realising that this can't happen.
Yeah.
Because it's a different universe. Not a lot of people realise that. I'll tell you now, my moment of having my eyes opened came for me whenever I was working in X-Division back in the day. And this woman came in and she was like, oh, have you seen that new Wolverine movie? I went, what? X-Men Origins Wolverine?
You were still broken by then?
I said, I was born broken. and she goes, oh, I loved that movie. You got to see how he became Wolverine. I was like going, yeah, I got to see that in X-Men 2, where it was done far better and his claws looked more real. But she was like, no, I loved that. I thought that was great.
So she's slowly breaking you more.
Our head of a woman. I mean, that's your audience. You know, like
that's kind of sad.
Do you really think that woman now in this day and age? Hopefully, she's grown up a bit.
No,
because maybe she was a teenager in all fairness. But do you really think she's grown up now and she's like, yes, well, I know that Detective Comics universe is Batman and Superman and the Flash and Aquaman, and I know that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is different and stuff. No, she doesn't. No. Because not a lot of people do.
But if you think about it too, for example, for Marvel, it's also nice to have your rival do. Well, I wouldn't call them rival, but another company do well.
Yeah.
Because it keeps you on your toes.
Well, no, it does, absolutely. But
You know.
the main sort of point that I was making there was, say DC start firing out all these movies and they're atrocious, they're awful.
Yeah.
Every single comic book movie gets tarred with the same brush.
Oh, so I get what you mean. You have to have
because people don't know the difference.
Yeah.
So if someone goes in to watch like a DC movie and it's terrible, they'll go, comic book movies have really gotten bad lately, haven't
And
they?
they'll stop watching.
And then they'll stop watching Marvel stuff because they won't know the difference. They'll be like, is that one of them comic book movies? Yeah. I can't be bothered with that. Sure, I watched that one, Justice League was a terrible movie.
Yeah, I get what
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're coming from.
So, and do you know what? Stuff the people that say otherwise. I enjoy the DC movies.
Yeah.
I think there's lots of love in it, and yeah, it is different from the likes of Marvel because Marvel, God love them, I like it. I like about Marvel, but it's fluff. It is like the most dangerous thing they've done so far is turn all half their characters into ash at the end of Infinity War.
Yeah, it took them long enough to
but
do
even
something
still,
like that.
it wasn't like it was dark, but it wasn't dark.
No, it wasn't.
Like it wasn't a, oh my God, there's no way these people are ever coming back.
No.
Like, I mean, when literally 5 minutes before you release Infinity War, you're announcing there's a new Spider-Man movie coming out.
Yeah, they couldn't keep that to the wait until the last part's done and then start releasing
So
stuff.
it's kind of like, well, obviously Spider-Man's not turned to
Yeah.
ash forever because they're making another Spider-Man movie. So with DC, yeah, it is darker, but I kind of see it as like Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I could see
Where
that.
like Marvel's kind of like Star Wars,
Yeah.
where like everything's just sort of like this big grand adventure and everyone's fun and happy all the time. And then with Lord of the Rings, it's a trilogy of movies that you sort of have to sit down and watch on your own, and it's like a big sort of 3-course meal, and you have to sit and slowly digest them.
Yeah, if you rush it, you're done for.
That's them for me. For myself watching Man of Steel, I was loving it up until the big battle scenes, where I was just like, this is overkill. Because it's a bunch of immortal beings
Gods
that
kind
can't
of
be
a thing,
killed,
yeah.
throwing each other around the city, and it's a real proper monster mash. And I felt fatigue set in like crazy watching that in the cinema.
Really?
Because it went on for so long.
See, I never actually seen it in the cinema,
Like
unfortunately.
the extended cut of Batman v Superman, I have to say I'm in love with.
Yeah?
It's so good, the 3-hour cut.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it explains so much. Like the Batman v Superman that we got in cinemas was a travesty. It was.
So you mean there's bits that were cut out that make sense?
There are
basically?
bits that are cut out of Batman v Superman in the cinema that it's like, why are you cutting that out? Okay, for example, it would be like watching The Terminator and cutting out the scenes where they travel back in time.
Oh, God.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So, like the bit at the start where the Superman's accused of killing all these people.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, because they were all shot. What are you doing? Whereas in the extended version, it explains a little more closely why people could confuse that because they set the corpses on fire.
Ah.
So it's like, okay, that makes sense now. But they cut things like that out of it, and it's like, oh, why are you doing this?
So it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle if you drop it and you're trying to put the pieces back together.
Yeah, but like you're trying to mash different pieces that
Yeah.
don't fit there together, and it's just an absolute nightmare. I don't know, man.
It's kind of scary if you think about it. If they're always getting interfered and getting cut back and things being messed around, people are going to start. It is going to happen. People are just going to start watching them.
Yeah.
They're going to go, "Oh, this is terrible."
I don't know, man. Like I've said my piece on the DC movies a lot of times now, especially on this radio show, and it's just getting to the stage now where I'm just
You're just desensitized at this
yeah,
point.
I'm not even shocked. I'm just like what the hell. Meanwhile, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated
Yes,
movie,
I am looking forward to this.
reviews are creeping online.
What?
Reviews are getting online
How?
because
Is it out?
people are releasing them.
Is it out already?
It's not out
Properly?
already, but you know people have gone to see advanced screens of it and stuff. And,
Oh,
like, for
okay.
example, Empire released their review of it today. It's getting love all around the board.
I know.
It's sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh my god.
That like this movie is getting a whole heap of praise. Even with Empire, they give it 5 stars. Like they're saying this is a phenomenal movie. You need to go watch this. It's like nothing that you've ever seen before.
Will this be coming out in cinema for us?
It's
or-
out in cinema for us 2 weeks from now, I think.
I'll have to add that to the list.
But no, people are loving it, and rightly so, because with our next story tonight here on Following the Nerd, Into the Spider-Verse is already getting a sequel, and there's a spin-off coming as well.
Ooh.
So we're hearing that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a contender for Superhero Movie of the Year for Best Spider-Man Movie Ever Made.
Oh my god.
So obviously we're pretty excited to get our nerdy eyes on it. But in the meantime, there's a new clip from it that's on followingnerd.com right now, and it's a lot of fun. We're confident this is going to live up to the hype, and clearly so are Sony. A new report from The Hollywood Reporter says we're getting a sequel and a spin-off. The sequel will be directed by Avatar: The Last Airbender and Voltron's Joaquim dos Santos, not a real name, while writing duties will be down to David Callahan, who worked on Wonder Woman 1984 and Zombieland 2. Mm-hmm. Along with this, Batman Year One and Superman/Batman Apocalypse director Lauren Montgomery is getting ready to direct a movie based on the female side of the Spider-Verse, which will most likely involve Gwen Stacy/Spider-Gwen, and will be penned by Beck Smith, who wrote episodes of Zoo. Alarmingly, Amy Pascal and Avi Arad are still involved.
Okay.
But hopefully so will Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who acted as producers for the upcoming first movie. Yeah, those two names, they ring alarm bells for me, because Avi Arad is the guy that personally destroyed the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. Amy Pascal is responsible for that train wreck of a movie called Ghostbusters.
You have two speed bumps there.
You do indeed, yes. So, much to the surprise of no one, it seems that Sony, after the success of Venom and the expected success of Spider-Verse, are planning on going big on Spider-Man. Marvel better be able to renegotiate a deal for Peter Parker in the MCU, or they're going to lose him. So, we have the new clip as well on followingnerd.com right now. So Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they're some of the creative minds behind this.
I think the other two will be like taking back seats, just saying yes.
They damn well better, because
I think they will.
It's like what we were talking about before there. It's producer interference.
Well, think about it this way. Look how successful Venom was. I think that's the bit when they went, okay, we'll allow you to do what you want. Because if they do jump in on this, they could ruin it for themselves.
Yeah, but Venom had a lot of behind-the-scenes tomfoolery as well going on with it, didn't it?
I think so, but I mean, like from fans and that, they're seeing it. It's very successful. So that bound have made them look at it going, it's successful. And Sony do needs really like a lifeboat at this point. So if the Spider-Man is doing really well, then I think that, well, for me, if it was me personally, if I was in charge of this, I would be going, I'm not getting involved.
Yeah.
Unless it's a big thing, yes. But off you go, make movies, have fun. You know, because
I don't know. I think it's an absolute nightmare fest.
What do you think it's going to be?
I think hopefully now they've learned. For the love of God,
I think they have.
They've learned, because it's a simple case of sitting back and going, okay, you're the creative minds. You know what the audience wants. Go off. Here's your money. Go off. Make your movie. Make us money.
Well, I think they've proven
and that's all they have to do. Just leave it be.
Here's one thing that I'm going to be a little bit confused about. If this does get successful, and the last bit you were saying there, that Marvel have to make a renegotiated deal, will there be two different Spider-Man? Will there be one for Sony and then one that's in the Marvel universe, or will they have to? So it has to be. Tom
Holland has to be Peter Parker. Yeah.
Because that's going to be interesting. Do you think that that newest movie is going to come out will be his last run on Marvel?
Well, it's not even a case of that. It's a case of they have to barter for the rights to use Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So if they can't renegotiate a deal with Sony, bye-bye Spider-Man.
Ooh. I think that they'd be smart enough to keep that going with Marvel. You know.
But will they need to, though, if their Spider-Man universe takes off and becomes successful?
Well, if this gets really successful.
Because Venom was successful.
It was.
Into the Spider-Verse is looking to be another smash hit. And if they continue to do this, why do they need the deal with Marvel? Whenever they can just make their own Spider-Man movie, seeing as they've worked out the formula for making them.
That's a fair point.
You know?
Well, let's hope that, this isn't like a big success and the next one just crashes burdens because they didn't learn from their lessons. But, I'm looking forward to this. Actually, with all the trailers I've seen, I'm sitting going, I'm really, really enjoying this. Really can't wait to actually go and see it in the movie.
It's a shame the studio politics have to step in and ruin it for everyone.
Yeah.
But if only we could live in a world where Spider-Man can be with the Avengers and also with Sony. But that's just the way the dice have fallen. Here, I tell you what, though.
Yes.
One movie franchise that is clawing its way back from the depths of hell itself is the Transformers movies.
Transformers!
Robots in disguise. So this is something that you and me were severely fanboying over earlier this week. They released the photos of Optimus Prime from the Bumblebee movie.
Oh my god.
And we've got them on followingthenerd.com right now. It's perfect.